Story number 3 here. Prime Video's Tomb Raider to start filming in 2025. This comes from Eddie at GameSpot. Earlier this year, Prime Video officially ordered a Tomb Raider live-action series that was created by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who joined the project in early 2023. Now, Prime Video has offered an update about how soon the new adventures of Lara Croft will go into production. We're hard at work, Amazon MGM Studios television head Vernon Sanders told The Wrap. We've got great material. Phoebe's really good. We're really excited. My guess is we'll spend the rest of this year getting things prepped so that we can start production early next year. Sanders also indicated the studio hasn't started casting yet. We've got to find out Lara Croft so that the global-wide search will start sooner rather than later. Waller-Bridge and Prime Video haven't revealed if the new Tomb Raider will focus on Lara Croft in her prime or the younger Lara who was featured in the reboot trilogy that concluded with 2018's Shadow of the Tomb Raider. However, Amazon Games has confirmed that the next Tomb Raider game will not be connected to the show. While Prime Video's Tomb Raider may be years away, Netflix's animated series, Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft, will premiere on October 10th with Haley Atwell providing the voice of Lara. That's pretty freaking cool. I like that.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got confused because I was like, was she Lara Croft? I'm like, no, that was a different movie.
Angelina Jolie.
No, this is the different one.
There's the more modern one.
Yeah. Oh, I just had her name and I blanked it out.
Yeah.
Alyssa something or other.
Okay. Well, is it something or other?
I felt
Not
like it was
Jenny.
kind of a
Alyssa Vikander.
Gotcha.
Vikander.
Yeah. Yeah, Haley Atwell, though, as
That's cool.
Older Lara Croft voice. I like that.
I like that a lot.
That sounds good. I never saw the Alyssa Vikander one, though.
No. Did they make 2 of those? They just made one of
They
those.
made one, and they were
were like-
making 2, and then it ended up getting canned. I think like
Okay.
pandemic and
Gotcha,
things like
gotcha,
that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I want from a Lara Croft or Tomb Raider franchise or anything anymore. Like I feel like not that it can be anything, but this doesn't necessarily excite me. It doesn't move the needle, but I think it could be cool. Like, what do you feel? What is your like vibe on the whole Tomb Raider franchise right now? Or like, are you excited about this?
I'm kind of with you.
Yeah.
It's funny because Tomb Raider is such an iconic video game franchise, and it is one of, if not the first kind of breakout hit. Like the Tomb Raider movies were a big deal.
Yeah.
Like there were Angelina Jolie ones, like to non-gamers even. Like Lara Croft was in the late 90s household name. Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of, she's as a character kind of hit a point of no return of like, there could not be a new Tomb Raider game for 30 years and people will still, 30 might be a lot, but like 15 years and like Tomb Raider was still going to mean something in the general lexicon of pop culture, right? And I think that at this point with anime and a show coming, and you got to imagine there's more movies at some point, like I don't think we're ever going to be done with Lara or the Tomb Raider name. The last trilogy was great.
Yeah.
I feel like with the new one, we just simply don't know enough about what that's going to look like. Tomb Raider is interesting because in a world where Uncharted became what it did, and when it first was announced, everyone called it Dude Raider, right? Before it even had a name.
Yeah,
it was just
that was
Dude-
in Astro. The one of the they're playing Dude Raider. Which
There we
go.
go.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, cool. It's like, it's Indiana Jones and it's Tomb Raider. But then it's like Tomb Raider kind of then mimicked Uncharted.
Yeah.
And then it just like kind of just became this thing where that, like, that's fascinating to look at just from like a genre perspective. But at the end of the day, if they're good games, they're good games. And for the most part, they were good games.
Yeah.
But clearly the sales and everything of that franchise didn't hit where it needed to. Granted, there was a lot of weird exclusivity stuff there where Xbox like made Rise exclusive and that kind of like tanked it. But we'll never know what that could look like if it was multi-platform. I'm not necessarily convinced it would have changed too much. Like it would have sold way better, but I don't know if it would have sold enough for it to be like, oh wow, we got a Megaton franchise on our hands still. But yeah, I think that a show could be cool, but I also just don't really. It's weird. I feel like at this point, I'm so positive and optimistic towards adaptations of video game stuff, both in movie and TV form. We're at a point now with Tomb Raider that I feel like we've already transcended from it being a game, that like this just feels like another show being announced. Like this doesn't feel like a video game adaptation. It's just like
it's a multimedia franchise at this point. So yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I think I'm just thinking more of like, what can it do to excite me? I think attaching Phoebe there, like that's great, and I think that is going to add a level of maybe humor and intrigue and character development that I'm looking for here. But when I think about like the 3 Tomb Raider games, I like those games a lot. I played all 3 of them. I enjoyed them. But I don't not much of it sticks with me, right? Like it's just kind of like, oh, those are fun experiences that I had, but like I don't remember any of her side characters or any of the things that she was doing necessarily. So I'm interested to see how they can, for the next generation, right? They have games being released through Amazon, right? Like they're making this thing of like, hey, we're going to make this again like the 90s again. We're going to bring it all back. We're going to make this a multimedia experience. It's going to have video games, it's going to have movies, it's going to have anime. I want that to have some cohesion and maybe some characters that cross over and feel like, oh shit, like this is a new generation for Lara Croft for Tomb Raider. And I just wonder what that looks like outside of
hard.
like, what is that?
I think that's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard to do. Like,
exactly.
yeah, you're right. It's just, I feel like Tomb Raider means so much to so many people, but at the same time, what does it actually mean?
Exactly, especially in the new generation, as you're saying, like it is so close to Uncharted, right? It'd feel like, oh, it was cool, but it was, it's like Uncharted, right? Like I want this to feel separate. I want this to feel unique. And I think the games have like a really not easy, but like there's some cool gameplay mechanics you can implement to make that feel unique from an Uncharted. But I think where it's going to really shine is the anime and in the movie and the shows rather. To actually like, hey, this is Lara Croft. This is what she can be for this next generation. So there's a lot riding on this one in my mind, because I think if we just kind of have another, it's whatever, it's just kind of throwaway, bullshit. This is not going to tank the franchise, but it's just going to continue the same vibe, right?
See, yeah, that's interesting here. Super chat in and let us know if you have any hope for the show or what you would want to see. It's interesting you say that, because like I almost feel like it is nigh impossible for Tomb Raider to become bigger than what it is. I think it's just hit the point of saturation that like it's going to do fine.
Yeah.
I just don't think it can ever do amazing. Like I just think that, and of course, like anything can have enough changes and like come back and be fresh and different. I just feel like, again, because of what people are thinking about and what Tomb Raider means to them, like adding more to that or just doing that same thing again, but just a little bit different. I think we've seen it too many times. And then again, like there's just now been other examples of things like it.
New merch alert! We brought back the Portillo hat and t-shirt in new colors, as well as a stylish crew neck. I also wrote a children's book about Portillo, and you loved it so much that we sold out in just 3 hours. Wow, thank you! But fear not, we're doing another limited run. So if you want one, head over to kindafunny.com/store, click the books page, and hit notify me when available to make sure you know when it goes live. And while you're there, grab a few shirts for your friends.
I'll never forget I never saw the movie for the recent Tomb Raider reboot, but I remember seeing the trailer a bazillion times.
Yeah.
And I always remember being so fascinated by it, because I feel like to this day, just the trailer alone, I imagine the whole movie's like this too. I don't think we've ever seen a game adaptation as one-to-one faithful for what the game is. And like, I think that for something like Tomb Raider that doesn't really have that much meat on the bone, that's not that great, because the moment Tomb Raider tried just being Uncharted, which is essentially just like a B-movie action adventure, but then you're now translating it back to being a movie, it takes away the gameplay, which is what makes that special and not just a whatever movie.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's just like you're having a whatever movie where a human being is doing CG jumps that don't look great, as opposed to a CG video game character.
Yeah.
That's doing jumps, but it's a video game, so you can kind of like understand it better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember having that thought, like, I mean, it was like 10 years ago at this point, but just like looking at it and being like, oh wow, faithfulness to the adaptation isn't necessarily the best move, but in a lot of cases it is. I just think that with Tomb Raider, it's just, to me, that's a perfect example of where Tomb Raider is. It's an okay video game series, and when you adapt it into movies and stuff, I just feel like there's just not enough to make it like that really, really hit. And
that's why I think that it's kind of a blank slate, right? It has the IP, it has the name, people are interested in it because they know Tomb Raider, everyone knows Tomb Raider. So there's something here that's like, oh, if we have a blank slate, we can make something special. And I almost hope that it's not a prequel. Like, I hope not a prequel, but like a early young Lara Croft. I hope she's like kind of a little bit older and mentoring people, and like we can show how badass and cool she is. I think that's the way to go about it. But I think that there is a way for Tomb Raider to grow and become something bigger than it was in the 2010s.
So
I really do
want
think
her
that.
to go through the kind of Gears of War 4 arc, where it's like, all right, we're getting I forget any of those fucking characters' names, but
Marcus.
like, yeah, Marcus.
Barrett,
he's got the gray beard. And
not
all the
not
kids and
necessarily, but
shit.
like I'm talking like an older Batman that has like the rogues, like you know what I mean, like has like a Robin or whatever, like just has people around them. They're not like
Gotcha.
necessarily old as hell, but like you know they're just hanging out people and it's like, oh, I'm mentoring this person, I'm growing. I think that's maybe the way to go about it. Then hey, she
Bat
doesn't
family
don't
era Batman.
yeah,
is what
exactly.
you're
She
looking
don't know
for.
anything, and now she on an island again. Oh shit.
Yeah. Again, I feel like you're really touching on something that
Yeah.
I think that Tomb Raider has kind of, as a franchise, with Lara Croft, kind of done what it can with,
Yeah.
hey, here's the prequel story of how she became the person you know. Hey, here's who she is that as you know her. Here's a new version of how she is as you knew her because it's not the 90s anymore.
We're forgetting some though. Bring back dinosaurs. You know what I mean? Then we fix it all. We fix it all,
fix
everybody.
all.
We figured
I mean,
it out.
But that is the thing is there have been a ton of anniversary projects.
Yeah.
There's going back and spin-off titles for Tomb Raider that had a lot of that stuff, and it was fun and great. I mean, even what was it? Lara Croft Go,
Yeah.
the mobile game. Loved that stuff, and it had fun little weird shit. But I feel like what you're pitching is kind of just the most obvious answer, and I feel like that's not what we need. Like
Yeah.
we need something that people are like, oh, this is cool and fresh. Well, you just pitched as an Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
That's
it's
true.
like, and like that's just, and also with Phoebe Waller-Bridges as well. But I don't know. It's just Tomb Raider's tough because for a franchise that started with the male gaze and has then transformed way past that.
Yeah.
We're just now at a point that I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like we've went down every hallway possible.
Mm.
And it's like, all right, where are we at? And again, it all ends in a place of like, there's something here.
Yeah.
Like it's still working. It is still good.
Yeah.
I just don't know. It could be great.
And Shadow of Tomb Raider had some really great moments, especially with like dealing with the fact that maybe she's fucking up everything. So like there's some good stuff there. I think there's interesting stuff with Tomb Raider to play with, but I'm interested in all this because especially because it's all Amazon, they're all connected sort of. So like I hope there is some connection to it all.
There's
Fair.
one hallway we haven't gone down, Tim, and this comes from Royal Martin in the Twitch chat. Slightly joking, but just make Tomb Raider the 2020 version of the Mummy movie. Make it for the Bioawakening. Just have everybody be hot as fuck.
Yep.
Just be campy as shit.
I love it.
And call it a day. Which honestly, especially with the success of Twisters right now, and Twisters is just like a goofy movie with all these fucking hot people chasing after tornadoes and shit.
That's not bad. That's not bad. We kind of
Yeah.
fixed it. We solved it.
yeah.
Tim
Yeah.
doesn't
We need a spiritual successor to the Mummy movie, which is like popped off in the last couple of years because everybody realized, or maybe re-remembered that everybody was just stupid hot and how campy that movie was. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jace the Drone says, make it a sexy CW show. And like, hey, I'm down. I mean, there's a lot of islands on Arrow. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like, we
hey.
could just kind of
Send her to the
continue with
island,
that.
everybody. We got a couple super chats before we get to a quick word from our sponsors. Joshua Dolsack says, Dua Lipa as Lara Croft. I have never been more in for an idea. You just turned everything around for me. This
You're
is
like,
how-
actually,
this
never
is
mind.
it.
This
And
is
that
great.
coincides
Give her
with
the
Royal
whole-
Martin's
yeah.
idea. I'm
Fuck
just
it.
saying.
Let's go. Let's go. We got Danny Passion saying it's simple. America needs to change. I don't care who brings it, but we need it ASAP before it's too late. Facts on facts on facts, Danny Passion.
There was a second where I was like, is that about Lara Croft?
America needs to change, y'all.
I was like, what?